please welcome William Rickert, Chair, Board of Trustees.
As Chair of the Teachers College Board of Trustees, I have the honor of officially opening today's ceremony and being the first to congratulate the 2019 Master's graduates of Teachers College. The degrees you have earned are not just rewards for the courses, papers, and exams you have completed. They're also proof that you have collaborated with some of the best minds in your field, that you are ready to confront the biggest challenges, and that you have what it takes to become outstanding leaders and change makers. A number of you will become principals, superintendents, and leaders armed with rigorous combination of theory, practice, and specialized training that only TC can provide. There is no higher or more urgent calling than the shaping of future generations, and we salute all of our educators and education leaders here today. But preparing educators and education leaders is only one way that Teachers College fulfills its mission of advancing education and improving the lives of individuals, families, and communities. TC graduates are dedicated to increasing human well-being both in and out of schools and classrooms and across the lifespan. As organization psychologists and conflict mediators and negotiators, as principals, superintendents, and district leaders, as instructional technologists and health administrators, and as global policy experts, college presidents, and leaders of every stripe. For more than 130 years, TC scholars have discovered new ways to understand the complex forces that shape our minds, our bodies, and our relationships with each other and the world around us. Their foresight led to the creation of many fields such as international and comparative education, nutrition education, educational anthropology, organizational psychology, and educational assessment that many of you will now advance in your own distinct ways. Today, nearly a third of TC's faculty are psychologists, and we offer programs in education, health, psychology, and leadership, all sharing a single aim: to help individuals and communities reach their full potential and flourish. Now it is my very great pleasure to introduce the President of Teachers College, Thomas Bailey.
Good afternoon. It's all right. So it's my pleasure to welcome you on this wonderful occasion, on this beautiful day, and in this beautiful space, as we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. So let's now really hear it for the Teachers College class of 2019. Yeah. All right. So you're certainly the stars of the show, but there's a large cast of supporting characters that we also need to thank. So first, our faculty who've been and will always be vested in your success. So let's thank them. And our staff who help run the college and who've put together this convocation. And they do that with skill, caring, devotion to your health, happiness, and to your success. So let's really thank them. And finally, the most important, your family, spouses, partners, children, whose countless acts of generosity, kindness, and infinite patience were indispensable to your success. All right. So nearly a century ago, the great trial lawyer, Clarence Darrow, said that lost causes are the only causes worth fighting for. Now that might sound a bit quixotic, After all, Darrow lost his most famous case, defending a high school teacher in the so-called Scopes monkey trial. But while the other side won the battle in court, it lost the war. The trial proved a watershed moment that led to the widespread acceptance of the teaching of evolution, despite continued closed-minded opposition. Perhaps what Darrow really meant was, when very important causes hang in the balance, we must fight all the harder for them because the stakes are so high. Or as the editor of the magazine The Nation recently said, there are no lost causes, only causes waiting to be won. So what are those important causes waiting to be won today? What is the role of Teachers College in that fight? And what role will you play as you prepare for the next stage of your lives? Let's start with the issue that confronts every person on the planet, and for which, as many others have noted, there simply is no plan B. I'm talking about climate change denial, and the resulting fundamental disruptions in the world's environment, geography, population movements, and social structures that it will cause. In the last decades, the majority of respected experts have concluded that the increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the rise in temperatures, the melting of the polar ice caps, and the climb in the sea levels have dramatically accelerated. In short, we have already passed certain tipping points. The next decade will be a make or break period for all of us. We must literally find a way to stem the tide. Now, all of our programs and activities at Teachers College in education, health, and psychology have a role to play in responding to the potential and the reality of climate change. But as cognitive and developmental psychologists, experts on the cultures and education systems of other nations, authorities on leadership and psychology of schools, nonprofits, corporations, and other organizations, shouldn't we also think about climate change even more broadly as a metaphor for creating a healthier climate for achieving progress on a whole range of issues and challenges? Challenges ranging from stereotypes and biases that warp perceptions of reality and infect public discourse, to the persistence of racism, anti-Semitism, sexism, and discrimination, which poses an existential threat to our civilization, as lethal as climate change is to our planet, and to growing inequality, frustration, and thwarted goals throughout the world as well as in our own country. What if we created a climate where facts matter, where diversity of culture, experience, and thought is valued rather than feared, and where the freedom to think and speak freely does not become license to insult, demean, or demonize those with whom we disagree? What if we turned our diversity into fertile ground for developing solutions that are broad enough to work on a mass scale, yet flexible enough to be adapted to different contexts? What will happen if we rallied our better angels and learned to work together for the common purpose and the greater good? The history of the civil rights movement and struggle, which ended legal segregation and outlawed racial discrimination in housing, voting, and employment, furnishes us with important answers and examples. Those who were part of the movement did not solve every problem or get everything right, and neither will we. They made mistakes and often failed to follow through on their promises. So will we. There is still much work to do to accomplish the goals of the civil rights movement, and we will always have more work to do to achieve our goals. But the civil rights movement got many big things right, and so could we. We could make major gains and progress towards becoming a better, more productive, and more just society. So the question for today is this: how can we make the climate better for everyone? The civil rights movement required building awareness, knowledge, and understanding, and confronting racism and structural barriers to progress and equality. And likewise today, we must educate ourselves about the true nature and scope of the problems we face, instead of turning away in fear or denying that the problems exist at all. We must educate ourselves about which solutions really work, as demonstrated by rigorous testing in the lab and in the real world, rather than privileging ideas we merely want to work or think should work. And as educators, we must work to make our climate inhospitable to racism and anti-Semitism and all forms of discrimination. At the most basic level, we must educate ourselves about one another. Ultimately, as I have said, we need each other's perspectives and ideas. But to create such an exchange, we must first stop fearing and distrusting one another, and then try to understand what the world looks and feels like from each other's vantage points. What do the human beings across from me lack, or fear, or aspire to? What matters most to them? Now, I will be raising these questions in TC's 3 other convocation ceremonies this week, but as professionals whose work will have an especially broad reach on organizations, societies, and human development itself, you, more than any other group of professionals, will guide the next generation onto the path towards mutual understanding and mutual respect. To illustrate my point, let me briefly tell you about one of your soon-to-be fellow alumni, Dr. Hakeem Mohandas Amani Williams, Associate Professor of Africana Studies and Director of Peace and Justice Studies at Gettysburg College. Dr. Williams grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, where violence was commonplace. Thanks to sacrifices made by his courageous mother, he was able to come to this country and eventually earn his doctorate in peace education at Teachers College. But he has devoted much of his teaching and research career to his homeland and other developing countries. At Gettysburg, Dr. Williams has taken hundreds of his students, many of them white from well-to-do backgrounds, on service learning trips to Trinidad and to Rwanda. And in a landmark analysis of violence in schools in Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Williams broke new ground by showing how the schools themselves reinforce the nation's stratified class structures, and how the school's harsh zero-tolerance policy towards any offense perpetuates those divisions, which are a vestige of colonial times. He has offered models for change based on more caring, more nuanced approaches taken by individual teachers that are being adopted by many institutions. More broadly, at a time when much international work is dictated by flows of development capital, Dr. Williams is being hailed in his field for shaping new, critical peace education focused on power and structural inequality. I'm very proud to say that in April, at our academic festival, we presented Dr. Williams with an early career award, and in his acceptance speech, he credited Teachers College as the place that gave him the vocabulary to name and decode the violence in where he grew up. TSU is also the place where future pioneers and leaders are born. As a student in TC's higher and post-secondary education program, Diana Cervantes, and I know she's here, so yes, has reacted differently than many classmates to readings about inequities in American higher education, in part because, as she says, she's herself in the literature. Diana attended a predominantly white high school in Oregon. No one mentored her, she says. No one picked up on the potential of black and brown kids. Yet she still managed to win a Gates Millennium Scholarship, which funds outstanding minority students. We'll have many chances to applaud Deanna, right? Deanna entered the University of Oregon with a decidedly no-nonsense outlook. As a first-generation student, she was focused on earning a professional degree, so, as she says, I could get a great-paying job and help my family achieve the American dream. But after a period of deep isolation in an unfamiliar world, she became a student activist and leader. That led her to resolve to change the higher education experience for other students of color. In her classes at Teachers College, Deanna has made a point of changing the academic tone of many discussions by speaking candidly about her own struggles. At the same time, she's honed her research skills by working with Professor Corbin Campbell on a project to evaluate the quality of teaching and learning in mid-sized public universities. Now she's preparing to begin her doctoral studies in order to explore the obstacles to higher education faced by Latino males, with an eye towards identifying academic and social supports that can help them not only make it to college, but also to earn their degrees. Her ultimate goal is to help students following in her footsteps, including her two younger brothers. Experience is a powerful teacher, especially when someone like Deanna Cervantes is determined and courageous enough to plumb its depth. Brava, Deanna. We wish you every success. Now we can really applaud Deanna. Thank you. The success of all our graduates illustrates the many powers of a TC education now placed in their hands. There is the power of research and practice in the realm of transcultural studies and comparative and international education. There's the power of an enlightened, holistic vision of human development. There is the power of studying culture and leadership that brings about cultural change. Graduates, some of you will use that power to bring education and hope to refugee populations whose lives may be in limbo for generations. Some will shed light on the way that organizations, wittingly or unwittingly, perpetuate bias and stereotype threat. Some will create enlightened and useful tests and assessments that reveal what students do and do not understand instead of merely ranking their performance. And still others will quantify and mitigate the impact of poverty on the development of children and families. But all of you, conflict negotiators and peace educators, developmental psychologists, change management experts, and school superintendents, all of you will play a vital and decisive role in educating young and future generations to flourish in mind, in body, and in civic spirit. You will teach them to become well-informed citizens who can treat the environment with care and one another with respect. You will teach them to distinguish truth from lies, real facts from alternative facts. And you will encourage them to think for themselves, and you will inspire them to embrace justice. And by teaching them well, you will go a long way towards removing carbon from the air, hate from our discourse, and racism and anti-Semitism from our society. Sadly, you will encounter many people, let's call them education deniers, who will not appreciate your gifts or value your work. They may mock you as social justice warriors. But remember, reversing climate change literally and figuratively is not a lost cause. Even convincing climate and education deniers to change their thinking is not a lost cause. These are all causes just waiting to be won. And we look to you, members of the Teachers College class of 2019, to lead the way to those victories. Thank you and congratulations. All right, we now have reached the moment in this ceremony when we honor an extraordinary individual whose life's work has advanced the cause of education while upholding TC's core mission to foster excellence and equity in the fields we serve. Among those honors in past ceremonies were Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Coretta Scott King, Senator George Mitchell, Pete Seeger, Eric Holder, Thomas Friedman, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Gail Collins, Spike Lee, Linda Darling Hammond, Jelani Cobb, Temple Grandin, and the Reverend Dr. Calvin O. Butts. This year, we honor 4 preeminent scholars and practitioners: Michelle Fine, Rosie Phillips Davis, Sarita Brown, and Barbara Morgan. I'm pleased to welcome TC Professor Anna Newman, joined by Provost Thomas James, to introduce Sarita Brown. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to all of our graduates. It is my very great pleasure to invite our medalist, Sarita Brown, to join us at the podium. Sarita Brown, you have argued that human capital is America's most precious resource, and that with Latinos soon to comprise a quarter of U.S. college students, we all must take responsibility for ensuring their success. Since arriving at the University of Texas at Austin as a first-generation college student, you have worked tirelessly to advance that aim. The Model Minority Recruitment Program you created at your alma mater led President Clinton to name you as Executive Director of the White House Initiative for Educational Excellence for Hispanic Americans. You founded the Hispanic Scholarship Fund Institute, administering federally funded programs with the Department of Energy and the Department of Education's Institute for International Public Policy. And you have since co-founded and led Exelencia in Education, which demonstrates to higher education institutions and employers precisely how they can tap and nurture America's vast pool of Latino talent. Exelencia tracks Latino student populations' growth, prodding policymakers who seem to discover Latinos afresh with each new census. At the same time, Exelencia is convincing colleges that first-generation students cannot be expected to arrive college-ready, live on campus, focus full-time on academics, and earn degrees in 4 years. Rather, colleges must meet this cohort's needs. Recruiters should possess the cultural awareness to speak with Latino students' families, and they should visit early and often because many Latinos attend college near home. The Examples of Exelencia program publicizes hundreds of efforts to help first-generation students succeed. For example, California's Cerritos College immerses seniors in campus life during the summer before college. Freshmen receive course counseling, tutoring, and other supports. The result? 3/4 of them become sophomores versus just 47% of peers. And on the pipeline's other end, Exelencia's Finding Your Workforce database is a slam dunk response to employers who can't find qualified Latino applicants in STEM and other fields.
Sarita Brown, you once said of college graduation that, and I quote, They call it commencement for a reason, because you are beginning, end quote. For what you have accomplished since your own beginnings, for helping so many others begin new chapters in their own lives, and for helping to begin and sustain a new and more equitable era in American higher education, we proudly present you with the Teachers College Medal for Distinguished Service.
I wish you could see the view from here. You guys are beautiful. President Bailey, in his inaugural year as president, faculty, administrators, but most important, 2019 graduates, your family and your friends. Thank you so much for sharing this day, your day, with me. Preparing to address you in this august setting, I considered what is it that I could say that would be meaningful. And when that kind of moment comes for most of us, we go with what's authentic, what's core. So what I did was look at what it was like 30 years ago when I was at the University of Texas at Austin, and I found my path to the very thing that you are honoring today. I looked around a public state institution in the great state of Texas, and I didn't see many students like myself. And I knew instinctively that didn't just happen. It occurred because of countless steps along the way. And just as my father had taught me, I pursued, what is it I need? If I can't find it, I'll build it. And what I was able to do for 15 years at that institution was build a center of gravity with faculty and staff and committed students who believe in the power of higher education to mitigate whatever obstacles we bring as we enter our education, as we walk in the door of the classroom, as we take our place on a campus. We bring many things, most of them assets, some of them challenges, but the power of education to allow us to get to where we want to go. That's something that my family gave me, though they themselves did not have a college degree. They told me, "Mijita, sigue, go there. There you will find what you need to be able to thrive." What I did was say, how could many more students, just like me, find their way onto a campus, and most importantly, to a day like this, when you graduate, when you're getting ready to apply your education. I found my calling in the capacity to advance a focus on the growth of the Latino community as an asset for this country. And I did it 30 years ago, when predictions of demography said that by now, many things would be taken care of. They're not. And for all of you who are going into education, knowing the data is important. What we do in education now, given the growth and most importantly, the growing Latino student population, is essential for the course of this country. Latinos represent 1 in 5 college students today, 1 in 4 students in the K-12 system, and most significant, 1 in 3 from the 0 to 5 population in the United States. I'll let you know that those statistics come from research that President Bailey was involved with, so it never stops. You always use what you know. Data is important for grounding what you do. It's important in terms of showing that you know what you're talking about. But simply reporting data is not what any of us truly commits to. It's about how do we change the course of all of students' populations and move towards success. So it means peeling the onion, looking at who you are seeking to serve, and figuring out the assets that you have and you bring them to bear. So let's talk about data for Latino students. Despite the way it sounds when you look at the news or you read certain articles, the facts are the majority of Latino students in America are US born. The majority are US citizens and permanent residents. The majority are English speaking. The majority are first in their families to go to college. And despite a dropout rate that we still would like to check, if you look nationally, Latino students, by and large, are high school graduates. We are an asset for every dimension of the future success of this country. That idea of Latinos being, by and large, first-generation college-goers is where I think all of us can focus and make common cause. The idea that the academy, that higher education can demystify the means to enter, to thrive, to graduate, and then to contribute again. That's what all college graduates, that's what all who seek degrees have as a common cause. We've passed through, we know how to do it, and we also know that we need a lot more people in this country to do that as well. The students who believe in the importance of a college education, though they're the first in their family to pursue it. The students who are willing to take that first step and bring family and friends along. The students who are able to make their place here on a college campus, even though the campus is telling them in lots of quiet ways and sometimes overt ways, you don't really fit the mold. All of that is what, on your watch, on our watch, we have a chance to change. Who or what can mitigate an inequitable pathway and enable participation? That's the question I've asked myself almost the whole time I've been at it. I keep landing on higher education. I believe in the enterprise. I see what it can do. To you, 2019 graduates, the question is, what are your choices going to be? How will you apply your talents and your training to this next step in your journey? As we are involved in a process where our country is embroiled in the very nature of how we count who's in this country, the census, and who thereby will get resources. As higher education wrestles with ideas of equity and fundamental change, structural change, transformative change, how are we going to deliver educational experiences, decide what is included in a field of study, what each institution, college, and university asserts is appropriate for a degree? And all of this while getting feedback from employers, elected officials, and graduates. You are moving into your profession as the social contract between students and institutions is being renegotiated. At Exelencia, we seek to be change agents. We put ourselves in the stream of action because we want to influence the way higher education opens its arms wide for all students who seek admission and who want to work hard to pursue their degrees. We believe that a focus on race and ethnicity does not need to divide us as a society. Instead, it does describe ethnic, racial lines as a means to say these are our differences and these are our commonalities. We deeply believe in the capacity of higher education, and specifically the institutions that it has been our honor to privilege and to partner with to enhance American society. We seek to meet our country's human capital needs by providing a learning environment that enables more Latino students, more first-generation students to thrive and graduate. And we recognize that developing the ability to serve Latino students enhances the capacity of all institutions to really serve all students. When we started in 2004, Deborah Santiago and I looked at the landscape, and we didn't find an organization that had tactical answers that people who wanted to make a difference could immediately use. We sought, we did not find, and so we built Exelencia in Education that is just beginning and will grow over time. That's what we did. Today's question is, what are you going to do? What are your choices as you move forward? Particularly at this moment when it seems our country is churning. Watching the nightly news prompts reflection. When is enough enough? What is it we all agree on as Americans? Do we agree in 2019 what it means to be a responsible neighbor, an effective employee, a good citizen? It feels like everything is up for grabs, and the stakes seem so high. What each of us does right now matters. It always has. Right now, it feels like it matters more. When I'm overwhelmed, I settle myself by focusing on the basics. I look at what I can do through my own efforts and with colleagues I trust. And I seek every day to work with intentionality and to be of service. 2019 graduates, I share with you what I would share with anyone that I care about, anyone that I love. What's the advice you want to give someone at a moment like this? Work hard and give your choices all that you've got. Strive to meet important challenges. Care with intensity. Look for the humor in life. Strive to be just. Recognize that acts of kindness is truly the best way to show your strength. Commit each day to do your best for yourself, your family, your community, even if it's inconvenient, even if it takes more time, even if it feels like you'll have to work harder. By following these basics, you put yourself on the path to a purpose-driven life. You have worked hard for your degree. Now, it is your opportunity to honor this commitment to the future, a future that you have your sights set on. Apply your skills, energies, and ideas with intentionality and seek to serve your community, your vocation, and the causes that you choose. 2019 graduates, congratulations for earning your degree. Felicidades to all who helped you reach this day, and most importantly, make sure to make it count. Muchísimas gracias.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our student speaker, Jaqueda Gray II, MA candidate, Higher and Post-Secondary Education, Department of Organization and Leadership.
Wow, I really wish you guys could see this blue from up here. Good afternoon, administration, faculty, staff, family, friends, and graduates. Thank you for being here today to celebrate the Teachers College, Columbia University, class of 2019. To be honest, until I walked down that aisle not too long ago, it didn't really register that I was actually graduating. So being in this moment makes this entire experience so real. To think that we now have no more papers, presentations, or commentaries. Class of 2019, look around, acknowledge each other, breathe this air, because we did it. We actually have Ivy League master's degrees. A big thank you to everybody who supported us along our educational journey. I would like to give special acknowledgement to God, my HIPSI classmates, my family and friends, because I'm sure my mom can no longer hold in her screams, and those who I have lost along the way who are here with me in spirit. It is my pleasure to stand before you today and talk about my Teachers College experience, particularly what it's like to be surrounded by such amazing educators. My peers have offered me support, guidance, and love through times of joy, triumph, pain, and loss. These individuals have uplifted me, encouraged me, and consistently reminded me of the true impact of the Teachers College family. Now, for all of the alumni in the room, yes, 2019, I am talking to you. I'm sure you would agree that describing the Teachers College experience is no easy task. But for our friends and family who have not yet had the opportunity to experience it, I'm going to give you a little peek at what it feels like. To start, I would like everyone to close their eyes. It won't be long, don't worry. I want you to think about the most influential educators in your life. This could be elementary school, high school, or college, a teacher, coach, even a family member. All right, open your eyes. When I think about my favorite educators, former teachers, Michelle Winter-Haynes and Bree Van Til, my mentor, Dion Malbia, and the most recent addition, my fellow graduate and friend, Dr. John E. Williams, gang. It brings me happiness and warmth, and I can only hope that you just had the same experience. I'm pretty sure there's a saying about educators being the backbone of our society. If there isn't, then there should be. I have been blessed to spend the last year of my life learning from, networking with, and growing to love some of the best in the field. TC educators allow me to not only find my voice, but actually be heard. Every one of my classmates and professors pushed me to succeed and challenged me academically and intellectually. I was never made to feel invalidated because of my background, race, or gender. Instead, I was shown how valuable my experiences are in the pursuit of educational equity. To me, an equitable education is more important than an equal education. For those of you not quite familiar with the difference between equity and equality, I'll break it down for you. Equality is giving everyone in this room my Netflix password. It sounds like a pretty good deal, right? But that's not equity. Equity is making sure that everyone in this room even has a device to watch Netflix on. Being an exemplary educator isn't about teaching everyone the same thing and hoping for success. It's about ensuring that all students have the same support and opportunities to be successful. This is a trait that Teachers College fully instills in all of their graduates. Now, I would not be properly utilizing this platform if I did not take time to acknowledge my presence in this space, not only on this stage, but at such a historic institution in general. Being a Black woman, born to a teen mother, raised in what's considered at-risk neighborhoods in Kansas City, Missouri, I have often felt as though the cards were stacked against me. As the first in my family to receive a high school diploma, a bachelor's degree, and now a master's degree, I know that I'm supposed to feel empowered and successful, but instead, I mostly feel nervous. This is probably because I'm completely aware of the inequities that myself and other people of color will face throughout our career. With the current climate of our society, I'm consistently wondering if the value of my TC degree will be equal to that of many of my classmates. Even standing on this stage, I am constantly battling my internal feelings of imposter syndrome and the need to doubt myself, my abilities, and my worth. A feeling that I know many of my classmates can actually relate to. But then I remember that I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. My classmates and I have shown tremendous resilience through trauma, misfortune, and we can't forget fatigue. Many of us were not expected to be here. We were told that we were not good enough, smart enough, or even composed enough to be successful in such a space. But all past obstacles and naysayers make this moment that much more meaningful. 2019, always remember that your experience and your background matters. Representation is key in our communities. It's important for students to see people who look like them, who have survived similar struggles, and who have made it out on top. As our education system diversifies, we must be sure to support these students and each other, acknowledging everyone and their differences. In the words of the late great Maya Angelou, do you know how important you are? Every person in the world has been influenced by an educator. Graduates, you have the opportunity to be the change. I challenge all of you to take this knowledge and continue to promote and celebrate diversity in the world around us. Acknowledge your privileges and use them to fight for equity in schools, jobs, and our educational system. Make no assumptions and understand that the words that you speak will have a lasting impact on a student's overall determination for success. Aspire to make more of a difference now than when you first walked through those Teachers College doors. I would like to close with an excerpt from one of my favorite poems. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are adequate, that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Class of 2019, never allow anyone to dim your light or diminish your worth. We earn this. Oftentimes, we're too busy thinking about our future and our next goal that we don't take the opportunity to remember that this was once the goal. So for just a little bit, don't stress about your next job, your next move, or those hefty student loans, thanks TC. Take time to live in this moment. Don't question yourself, your worth, or your abilities. Be proud of your process and your struggles. Acknowledge your accomplishments and enjoy all the fruits of all of your stress and hard work. Take a trip, get some sleep, go to Dallas Barbecue and get a margarita. But whatever you do, never forget that you earned this, you deserve this, and you are the educators that will change the world. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Katie Ho Weatherly, EDD candidate, accompanied by Elsa Lee, EDM candidate, Music and Music Education, Department of Arts and Humanities. And now to recognize each of the master's degree candidates are Tom Rock, Vice Provost of Student Affairs, and Christine Room, Associate Provost.
Good afternoon. At this time, it gives us great pleasure to read the names of those candidates for the Master of Arts, Master of Education, Master of Philosophy, and Master of Science degrees at Teachers College, Columbia University. All degrees will be conferred at the Columbia University ceremony tomorrow. Thank you very much. And now, the candidates for the Master of Arts, Master of Education, Master of Philosophy, and Master of Science degrees.
We now begin with the Department of Organization and Leadership. Rafaela Espinal.
Purva Chopra.
Burgundy Rescasco.
Andrea Toussaint.
Roza Nabandian.
Kimberly Bradley.
Jennifer Cunha.
Margaret Freeman.
Ralph Martinez.
Charisse Bino.
Roberto Robina.
Jaqueta Gray.
Lauren Percy.
Jihei Moon.
Diana Cervantes.
Siyun Zhao.
Shinmu Morris Chen.
Marty Hernandez.
Andrew Flatguard.
Kylene Planer.
Kenny Hirschman.
Violet Yin.
Jade Bennett.
Shadman Islam.
Nikki Chambers.
Stephanie Gautier.
Courtney Hobgood.
Ryan Hatta.
Linda McCarran.
Forrest Cook.
Christina Cerencion.
Kenneth Dorsey.
Colleen Phelan.
Zachary Usseray.
Chiao Chiao Liu.
Andrea Black.
Adriana Reyes.
Tatiana Webb.
April Ortiz.
Bethany Donaraj.
Casey Bell.
Adrian Donaraj.
Edward Olson.
Reginald Hutchins.
Chauncey Jinks.
Brian Stroud.
Christopher Hanna.
Taruko Dabashi Taylor.
Brad Campion.
Megan Bearden.
Sunil Patel.
Sarah Isaac.
Samantha Collins.
Daisy Garcia.
Megan Brown.
Lauren Gahagan.
Kyle Kraus.
Lauren Moss.
Susan Jordan.
Deidre Alexander.
Jin John.
Christine Nicholson.
Emma Kleinberg.
Allie Tilley.
Lindsay McKenzie.
Serena Worth.
John Williams.
Christian Aguilera Hawk.
Mackenzie Millay.
Adriana Maraquin.
Uzumaka Okeke Iwo.
Jeannie Guzman.
Janae Willis.
Naratha Varaknathata.
Ashley Ogwo.
Anna Moda.
Nicole Wynn.
Lauren Barber.
Christina Montville.
Sion Yin.
Lauren Mankey.
Alexandra Spadaro.
Amy Lamonaco.
Reva Kapani.
Manuela Lacey.
Manisha Oswald.
Evelyn Atipo Kaplani.
Alexandra Olney.
Tamara Giu.
Zoe Lewis.
Michelle Dostis.
Stephanie Thomas.
Ryan Gerard D. Castillo.
Joy Parker.
Elise Cole.
Elizabeth Dansker.
Brian Maislin.
Alexis Sage Ehrlich.
Tanisha Jane.
Nana Wehara.
Ria Pillay.
Ji Hong.
Ian Rios.
Janice Chung.
Nirupamama Narayana Swama.
Kopal Manglik.
S. Andrea Peary.
Alexandra Charlesworth.
D. Chow.
Jean Sun.
Sajia Lee.
Annie Lou Saint Amand.
Lean Nicole Masri.
Shoko Hirose.
Mary Young.
Stephanie Jennings.
Laura Goldberg.
Alicia Alam.
Fatma Susan Tufan.
Jamie Hickman.
Richa Singh.
Natalie Perez.
Jenna Hoff.
Claire Merrill.
Shaylee Shaw.
Na Young Kwan.
Elizabeth Shanazarian.
Medina Niall Barak.
Brian Holton.
Lee Jean.
Adam Heckelman.
Paria Dai.
Robert Pearson.
Juyun Lee.
Songi Suzanne Jong.
Zhang Liu.
Diksha Jawa.
Xuan Ming.
Kevin Mulroy.
Allison Weinshank.
Matthew Romand.
Allison Isaacs.
Jenna Ludden.
Alexa Clemente.
Nathan Jenner.
Manish Patel.
Jean Marie Cho.
Courtney DeRussa.
Cassandra Hansen.
Max Roberts.
Jacqueline Jenkins.
Tom Chen.
Whitney Vauta.
David Goot.
Kit Krugman.
Christopher Mizell.
Mackenzie Mummy.
Janelle Giles.
Jillian Fiore.
Austin Davis.
Samuel Waters.
Michael Berglund.
Andrew Priest.
Emily Wilkin.
William Fang.
Peter Emmett.
Allison Benezra.
Paula Quilo.
Eric Marco.
Marshall Johnson.
Taryn Miller Stevens.
Robert Fudge.
Alex Oliver.
Catherine Pearson.
Tracy O'Keefe.
Catherine Brooks.
Sarah Dominich.
Catherine Spellman.
Brendan Buckland.
Kelsey Berry.
Jack Anderson.
AJ Coliani.
Melissa Cassis.
Raymond Wright.
William Stribling.
Adam Matarazzo.
Tom Owen.
Emily McCauley.
Oliver Merrill.
Rashna Mehta.
Samuel Permit.
Nutty McVicker.
Deepjot Sidhu.
Gabriel Bernstein.
Burnell Downer.
Michael Chapman.
Jay Bush.
Bobby McMahon.
Shane Capuccio.
Harold Chang.
Mary Sessions.
John Duncan.
Alexandra Norman.
Tina Yen.
Anna Carolina Bresson Laharis de Luca.
Cynthia Swanson.
Xiao Li.
Brendan Fawnen.
Tatum Bell.
Sarah Peden.
Michael Klaus.
Elizabeth Squindo.
Sen Fu.
Silkia Rivera Vasquez.
Max Ortuzar.
Madeline Ayala Lopez.
Jeffrey Silver.
Maggie Woolner.
Robert Griffin.
Catherine Wamani.
Thomas Wethington.
Anita Davey.
Chelsea Rodriguez.
Justin Thomas.
Shauna K. Ellis.
Maximilian Cole.
Benjamin Myron.
Michelle Bailey.
James Beebe.
Daniel Velasco.
Craig Amon.
Ashley Florencic.
Bennett Riley.
Ariel Johnson.
John Lanzafame.
Dana Jason.
Carter Bell.
Rafael Montoya.
Matthew Jaddernack.
Jessica Wall.
Sean Frederick.
Brianna Levy.
Lucas Dunaway.
Lindsay Burris.
Simon McManus.
Amber Kennis.
Rizwan Shah.
Elise Chom.
Alexander Cairns.
Laren Rotman.
David Love Jr.
Christopher Forst.
Eric Gherkin.
Robert Hone.
Jesse Cortez.
Christina Dix.
Blake Fitzgerald.
Christine Strawn.
Fitzgerald. Michael Sheehan.
Eric Cato.
Christina Fenstermaker.
Dante Jennings.
Josh Ware.
Kyle Keenan.
Corbin Hutton.
Anthony Brock.
James Gleason.
Jennifer Lennon.
Moises Ochoa.
Taylor Hamilton.
Sarah Johnson.
Ellen Grace Kim.
Tara Middlebrooks.
Jenny Lee.
Sarah Ryan.
Margaret Dickman.
Patrick Ryan.
Christina Lear.
Madeline Young.
Tyler Sharp.
Christine Labasco.
Chloe Leach.
Samia Arain.
Dania Sala.
Florencia Abalenda.
Aaron Schulman.
Marisa Edery.
Melissa Nat.
Ikra Sheikh.
Kate Rocky Harris.
Anna Odeski.
Cynthia Javier.
Laura McCain.
Daniela Arai.
Caroline Haynes.
Phoebe Search.
Jessica Ehrlich.
Rukaya Ibrahim.
Sophia Majaswala.
Lauren Siciliano.
Natalie Daniel.
Travis Joseph. Will the students and the faculty from the Department of Organization and Leadership please stand and recognize our graduates?
Congratulations. Would now like to recognize the candidates in the Department of Human Development. Mengxian Gao.
Uyen Kim Pham.
Whitney Ricks.
Lucy Chen.
Jisoo Kim.
Julia McCarthy.
Rujia Sun.
Mallory McKee.
Gregory Williams.
Fanchin Liu.
Yisho Tian.
Liu Tang.
Donanzi Zen.
Natasha Potter.
Sungwoo Kim.
Eugene Kim.
Crystal Thornbrook.
Yunling Cheng.
Alyssa Beta.
Dana Asby.
Zanisha Shaw.
Maria Julia Castro.
Elizabeth Hartman.
Amber Gonzalez.
Vivian Chang.
Edan Ian.
Kimberly Zebrano.
Che Yun Cho.
Daniel Viller.
Sarah Ock.
Lee Jian.
Jucheon Jo.
Ellery Rubin.
Yi Pu Zheng.
Arnav Durrani.
Jia Hui Feng.
Allison Kramer.
Alyssa Bean.
Sarah Brown.
Shihan Shu.
Allison Reeves.
Iran Kao.
Christine So.
Shantan Wang.
Catherine Huang.
Shucheng Chu.
Alexandra Khalil.
Han Zhang Du.
Michael Humans.
Jiawei Wu.
Xingchu Shen.
Aaron Han.
Jin Wang.
Lingui Ouyang.
Claudia Paniagua.
Tong Tong Zhao.
Kaoyun Chen.
Xinyi Mai. Igu Liang. Will the students and the faculty from the Department of Human Development please stand and recognize our graduates?
Congratulations. Would now like to recognize the candidates in the Department of International and Transcultural Studies. Paula Munoz Rojas.
Melanie Herring.
Anna Uria.
Si Wen.
Sandy Joseph.
Julie Ginjal.
Pamela Henoa Reyes.
Jai Sun.
Veronica Bojorquez.
Yu Li Shao.
Kelly Aponte.
Bowen Yang.
Sultan White.
Zhe Sing Li.
Xinyi Zhao.
Yijun Chu.
Xiao Xiao Wang.
Lan Jiang.
Li Li.
Gui Tsai.
Hang Jiao.
Jiajing Ju.
Shauna Ju.
Hyunji Lim.
Soyeon Kim.
Stella Kong.
Hanju Lim.
Enhei Park.
Shinya Lee.
Yutong Lee.
Saki Inoue.
Yuchin Wu.
Perry D'Amelio.
Reichen Zhang.
Morgan Baum.
Xiaotong Ma.
Amber Watkins.
Xin Tong.
Laura Ostendorf.
Sheng Yuan Liu.
Meredith Lunsford.
Sushitra Sarda.
Yue Rong.
Casey Gallagher.
Yu Wang.
Josephine Burns.
Radhika Kumar.
Emma Pike.
Constance Albanel.
Shamari Davis.
Hannah Mond.
Kamolan Chiranavan.
Ana Paula Romero Manzala.
Yiping Zhang.
Sarah Moraes.
Zihan Lin.
Yok Tin Yvette Learn.
Iren Ruan.
Laz Kuem Jian.
Justin D. Gear.
Janellen Stokes Walters.
Rebecca Riddle.
Charles Bradley.
Benjamin Steiner.
Purvacha Prakash.
Claire Stiglmeyer.
Sarah Fuller.
Lauren Gherkin.
Wait. Jose Ibarra.
Emily Varney.
Daniel Moshe Nahum.
Julie Halterman.
Mallory Hutchings Tryon.
Brian Davy Weber. Will the students and the faculty from the Department of International and Transcultural Studies please stand and recognize our graduates? And end, would all of our students and all of our faculty please stand and congratulate our graduates?
And now for the presentation of the candidates, please welcome Provost Thomas James.
Please be seated. President Bailey, Mr. Rickert, trustees, faculty, and guests, it is my pleasure as Provost of the College to present the master's graduates from Teachers College. Please hold your applause until I finished with each of the degrees. Would the Master of Arts candidates please stand, be recognized, and remain standing? Would the Master of Science candidates please stand, be recognized, and remain standing? Would the Master of Philosophy candidates please stand, be recognized, and remain standing? And would the Master of Education students please stand, be recognized, and remain standing? President Bailey, I ask you to recommend these students for the granting of the master's degrees tomorrow morning at the Columbia University commencement exercises. Congratulations all. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marion Boltby, the president of the Teachers College Alumni Association.
Alumni. Let me say that again. Alumni. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you formally into the Teachers College Alumni Association. As you stand here before this esteemed group and alongside your peers, we look on with great pride. Today, you join our Alumni Association, a network of over 90,000 professionals comprised of graduates from a myriad of academic backgrounds and all walks of life, who have created an incredible legacy. You will now become a part of that legacy. Your fellow Teachers College alumni have made a global impact, shaping many fields of inquiry and practice. They have done so through their leadership, tenacity, experience, and wisdom. They have also done so because of the people like the ones around you today, who form your support systems and network of peer mentors. Many would also argue that they have done so because of their Teachers College preparation. We know that you too will follow in these footsteps and make your own mark. Just as you needed support during your time at TC, we know you will need similar resources as you embark on your careers, and we encourage you to look to Teachers College for that support. I'm here today to tell you how valuable your participation in our Alumni Association can be. We are colleagues and collaborators, supporters and challengers, mentors and mentees, and most importantly, we are your peers. What keeps us all together is our alma mater, Teachers College. While everyone has had a different journey, I'm certain that no one's path leading to this time and place was free of challenges. I'm also certain that along the way you found inspiration, insight, and I hope joy. And many of you have developed what will become lifelong friendships. I encourage you to stay connected to your classmates as you move forward in your careers, and to tap the deep pool of expertise and knowledge offered by the broader TC community. We hope to see you at future alumni events, as well as featured in future newsletters. Know that you will always have a home in TC's vibrant community. On behalf of your fellow alumni, we wish you all the best in your endeavors. Congratulations and welcome to the Teachers College Alumni Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, William Rickert, Chair of the Teachers College Board of Trustees.
On behalf of the trustees of Teachers College, I want to congratulate each and every one of you on your extraordinary achievement. We thank your families and friends for joining with the faculty and staff of Teachers College to recognize you, our master's graduates of the class of 2019. We know that your contributions to improving the lives of your fellow human beings will become part of the legacy of Teachers College and make us all proud. We invite all of you to please join us for light refreshments in the Russell Courtyard back at Teachers College. And we ask that family and friends please remain in your seats until all of the graduates have left the cathedral. Thank you and congratulations.